You know that phone in your pocket? Yeah, that one. It feels so simple, right? Just this seamless, magical piece of glass. But what's hiding behind that screen is, and I'm not exaggerating here, one of the most complex, high-stakes operations on the planet. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that operation and see how a global giant is being forced to solve a $2 trillion puzzle. All right, let's dive in.
So, the iPhone supply chain, it's really a masterpiece. It's like this perfectly choreographed global ballet with all these tiny components flying across continents just to end up in the phone you're holding. But, and this is a big but, that same system is stretched right across some major geopolitical fault lines. And what used to be its greatest strength, that insane efficiency, has suddenly turned into its biggest weakness.
Okay, so first up, let's just appreciate how incredible this machine really is. I mean, for decades, Apple was obsessed with perfecting a system that was built for one thing and one thing only: absolute maximum efficiency.
Think of this whole system like a pyramid. Way down at the bottom, you've got your tier 2 suppliers. They're the ones providing the raw materials, like silicon. Then they feed up into tier 1. That's hundreds of super specialized companies making all the key parts. And right there at the very top, that's Apple. They're like the conductor, orchestrating this entire global orchestra.
And this is where you really see how complex it all is. That neat little pyramid diagram we just saw? Well, in the real world, it looks like this. It's just a mind-boggling collection of chips and circuits all packed together. You've got parts from Qualcomm and Broadcom for all the radio stuff. Then you've got chips from Bosch over in Germany and SK Hynix in South Korea for the main logic board. And somehow, it all just works together perfectly.
Okay, so this gets to the heart of Apple's whole strategy. It's something called partial vertical integration. Here's what that means. They design and make the single most important part themselves. That's the A17 Pro chip, basically the phone's brain. Doing that gives them complete control over how fast and powerful the phone is. But for pretty much everything else, they buy it. They go out and find the absolute best specialists in the world for every other component, tapping into this massive global network of expertise. But here's where the story takes a turn. That perfectly tuned, super efficient machine, turns out it was dangerously fragile. The exact same things that made it so fast and so cheap also made it incredibly vulnerable. People who live and breathe this stuff call it the convergence problem. And it makes total sense when you think about it. You've got a sensor coming from Germany, a memory chip from Korea, and a modem from the US. They all have to land at the assembly plant in Asia within the same 72-hour window. So what happens if a snowstorm grounds a flight from Europe? The entire production line, the whole thing, just grinds to a halt. And that right there is the domino effect. A supply chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Or in this case, maybe its cheapest link. Get this. A tiny $1 power management chip from a company in Japan called Renesas is every bit as essential as that fancy main processor. If that one little part is delayed, you literally cannot finish building a $1,000 iPhone. The leverage that tiny part has is just immense.
Which brings us to the really big risk: geopolitics. Some of the most critical parts, we're talking about the DRAM, which is like the phone's short-term memory, and the NAND flash, where all your photos and data are stored, they are almost all made in one specific part of the world: East Asia. So a trade dispute or any kind of instability in that region could just completely cut off the supply of the iPhone's memory. It creates this massive choke point that there's just no easy way around. And look, this isn't just us saying this. Apple's own leadership admitted it. This quote says it all. They knew that having everything so concentrated in one place, especially China, had become a huge risk. They knew they had to change, and fast. And that leads us right into the great pivot. Staring down these huge risks, Apple kicked off one of the biggest strategic shifts in modern business history. They decided to prioritize resilience even over pure efficiency. So what was the final straw? This number: $900 million. That's how much CEO Tim Cook told investors that new tariffs were going to cost Apple in just one quarter. It was a massive financial shock that absolutely demanded a huge, immediate response.
Now, here's a really important detail. That cost wasn't from a tariff on the finished iPhones. Nope, the phones themselves were actually exempt. All that pain, all that money was coming from the hundreds of smaller parts that were getting slapped with duties of up to 25% as they moved across borders before they even got to the final assembly plant. That perfectly tuned machine was getting hammered at every single step.
So what did Apple do? Their response was a strategy that's now known as China Plus One. They started this aggressive, absolutely historic pivot to build up India as a second parallel manufacturing hub. The whole goal was to de-risk the system so they weren't so dangerously dependent on just one country anymore.
And this wasn't just about avoiding tariffs. It was so much bigger than that. It was about reducing that single country risk, making sure they could keep the business running even with lockdowns or political shocks. Plus, it was a way to tap into India's huge market and their government incentives. It was a complete top-to-bottom rethinking of their entire global footprint. So just how fast did they make this change? Check this out. By the first half of 2025, a stunning 80% of all iPhones shipped to the United States came from India, not China. I mean, for a company the size of Apple, that is an unbelievably fast and decisive shift.
Okay, so what does this all mean for the future? Well, it means we're walking into a totally new era for global manufacturing. It's all going to be defined by this idea. You could call it the new cost of resilience. This really sums up the new reality perfectly. Apple is now, on purpose, paying a little bit more to make phones in India. You have to think of it like an insurance policy. They're paying a small, predictable premium to avoid a much larger, totally unpredictable, and potentially catastrophic hit from tariffs if they'd kept everything in China. And when you look at the hard numbers, the decision becomes crystal clear. Yeah, making a phone in India might cost, say, 5 to 8% more for each one. But that's a pretty small price to pay when the alternative is risking a potential 25 to 30% tariff hit in China. At the end of the day, the math is simple, and the choice is pretty obvious. So, the new endgame is clear. The goal isn't just to have the most efficient network anymore. Now, it's about having the most resilient one. In the world we live in today, a strong, spread out, and future-proof supply chain isn't just a line item on a budget. It's a massive competitive advantage. Which leaves all of us with a huge final question. This is the new puzzle that Apple and honestly almost every other global company is trying to figure out right now. In a world that just keeps getting more and more uncertain, what's the right price to pay for security? Where do you find that perfect balance between cost, speed, and risk?